Hello, Danny.
Hello.
It's been 2 weeks since we last recorded, I think. Yeah.
About that.
I'm sorry, my schedule has been so fucked
Yeah.
between fair and doing driving classes. So that's been a mess. I take my exam tomorrow morning. Um, well, for those of you that are watching, my exam will already have happened, but at the time of this recording, it will be happening on Friday the 20th. So, um, it's been yeah, and honestly, I'm kind of glad. Like, I'm sad to not have recorded for the past 2 weeks, but also like 2 weeks ago, there was just absolute jack shit nothing like to talk about. And then last week decided that every single piece of gaming news that wanted to show up all showed up last week. But unfortunately, I was right in the middle of doing my classes, and I have to wake up early for that, and that's disgusting gross.
Yeah. We taking that little bit of time off was actually really good for having a stockpile of these.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. There's a couple pieces, some smaller ones that I want to talk about, and then there's, one relatively decent sized one. I don't know how many topics you have, but I'm gonna go ahead and start us off with the Call of Duty 6 reviews from the beta test, I believe. Have you seen those?
I saw a lot of people play in the beta.
Yeah, so supposedly there's a lot of mixed reviews, and there's two key talking points, which is being able to take an enemy and use them as a human meat shield, like you would in
Did
Gears
see
of
that.
War. Yeah. And then number two, the Omni movement. Here's the problem. These are the two new mechanics that Black Ops got. And they're the two mechanics that people hate the fucking most. Did you know you can voice comm with the person you are holding as the
Yep.
meat shield? That is
Mm-hmm.
fucking hysterical. Like, I can only assume. Number one, again, this is Call of Duty we're talking about, right? This is Call of Duty. You know damn well and good you're about to hear so many slurs the moment you get fucking body grabbed. Like,
It
I
it's gonna
would
be
be
bad.
pissed. Yeah, I would be pissed. Um, and then the Omni movement has been really bad because people are basically just pushing it to the absolute max, which technically is not the bad thing, but as one person once said, nobody wanted to get frog leapt 420 no scoped. Which I didn't understand like any of that, but close enough. Um, and the Omni movement has either felt clunky or it's been really, really, really bad. Like it just goes way too far or it's way too short. Like it's not consistent. Um, so yeah, it's some Zoomer level shit. Um, and then we also got a little bit. Now this is a while back. We got some news about zombies, and the fact that now you can play as whatever the fuck the robots were from Cold War. What the fuck were those called, Danny?
I I cannot for the life of me remember, but I saw that and I was like, huh, that's an interesting decision.
Yeah, which honestly, like, hear me out. I don't think it's that bad of an idea, because there's a lot of dumb shit that happens in zombies, and there's a lot of fucking dumb Easter eggs. Like, something may seem dumb in zombies, but it's kind of there to be fun, right? The whole point of it is zombies is non competitive, it's fun. You're supposed to
Yeah.
band together and do dumb shit together, right? It's the whole reason why there's literally an entire community fan base about zombies. And honestly, I don't think this is the worst decision that they've made. The worst decision, absolutely, has to be during Cold War when they decided we're just going to say fuck off to making single level maps and then we're just gonna make whatever the fuck that portal shit was. Whatever the fuck that was, garbage. That was absolute ass. So it's nice to see them because they did say that they would be bringing back a couple of the fan favorite zombie maps. So I'm very 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 excited to see what specifically they bring back and how they will revamp them. Because I'm not gonna lie, not what was it? I think it's Undertoten is the first ever zombies map from World at War. When
I
they
believe so.
when they reworked that in Cold War, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. They kept the original, they kept the original building exactly how it was, and they just added area around it. Now, granted, they didn't do it like how it is in World at War, because in World at War, it's just literally like a farmhouse. Like there's literally nothing but farmland around you in World at War. So I guess they kind of had to like do a little bit of something to like make it modern or whatever. I don't really know, but honestly, the map looked good. It looked pretty decent. Um, I really want to see all of the Totens come back because the Totens were great maps. And then the cinema, the theater, classic map. I would love to see that come back as a zombie map, and I know a lot of people, especially with all the new zombie types running around, like I would love to see how people interact in that map because there is some areas where you can get fucked in that map.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so Black Ops 6 overall, just wrapping this section up, is not doing super hot, but I'm hoping that. Hold on, is it Activision that has a hold of it, right? They've got the Black Ops.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Activision actually pulls their heads out of their asses and actually fixes 6 before it releases. So, but we'll find we'll see. Um moving on, there's been and I guess we'll go ahead and go into this because I know that you've been looking into it a lot and seeing all of the moves that have been happening.
Yeah.
Uh, Destiny 2 has taken a quick turn
Yep.
on from the release of the final shape. And I figured that I would let you cover this section since you've probably been playing it almost religiously this point.
Yeah. They currently, as a lot of things are happening with the episodes right now, they've been doing a whole lot of balance changes and tweaking the sandbox. Like, for instance, today they just revealed Titans are finally getting their PvE buffs, and they're okay. They seem pretty solid on paper. Other things getting tweaked, but they're also switching the model up for the upcoming frontiers, which they're going to talk about next week. Which actually kind of surprises me that they have more to talk about already. But they're moving away from the big once a year expansions and moving to more like a medium size 2 expansions, which will more than likely be less. And the seasons are going to become free content, which intrigues me a lot because I
My
know the main point that always pushes people away is price tag on a lot of things.
Yeah, I just like for example, I just couldn't afford the final shape. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
And honestly, and here's the fucked up part, Danny, is I've been seeing a lot of people shitting on the game recently of like that it's not doing well and that players have been really annoyed with how Bungie has handled a lot of the feedback from the community, specifically a lot from content creators who play the game on a regular basis.
The thing that I will preface with this, the changes they are making are less so going to be great for content creators, but more so great for average players. It's kind of where like a lot of it's coming from is that they're kind of trying to make the game more appealing to people that may not have 8+ hours a day to play the game. and it's kind of like they're trying to streamline the play together aspect right now. Which like I get it, moving away from the big content. However, means they'll be able to spend more time working on the sandbox and making the game feel better and probably run better. So I'm gonna see how it plays out. But like I get it. The only issue with like a lot of things that I've seen is so many people saying, "Oh, the game is dead."
Yeah, and I mean, I would love to see Bungie release a viewer count of or like a player count of like what's happening because I've seen a lot of shit on Twitter about everything that's happening.
Like I know kind of how the game trends for a little bit is once you have the new content, it booms for a little bit and then it wanes off after a little bit. Because like the seasonal episodes are kind of the same way that seasons were, but I've kind of enjoyed the way that they've been doing updates for the episodes a little bit better because there's not as much time in between patches. But I get it. At the same time, it's like I wouldn't say it's anywhere near dead because definitely can't say that Destiny's dead after the other game that literally lasted like 2 weeks.
Oh, are you talking about Concord?
Yep.
Yeah. So, and you know what? I guess we can go ahead and segue into Concord, real quick.
Yeah.
Concord, I kind of feel bad because Concord didn't really get a chance to live.
I feel very bad for the team put in charge of that game because like I did a lot of digging and a lot of looking into it and it's definitely something that they had an idea for and they had ideas for the characters as well, but it's definitely like upper management decisions that made them like dumb everything down.
Yeah. Well, and also
And
the release time, and I know that you'll feel this with me, Danny. Concord's release time has been was probably at one of the worst fucking times I have seen ever. Like, not only did you release Concord right after the the Marvels uh
yep,
fucking hero
Rivals
shooter.
Beta.
Yeah, the Marvel's hero shooter beta. Then there's the other game, which is what? Deadlock?
That Deadlock came out in its early access literally like right after the Concord beta.
Yeah, and along with that, don't forget that Overwatch is doing its tests for 6v6 again. So like,
Yep.
I haven't seen this poor of decision making when releasing a game since Titanfall 2.
The
Because
difference being Titanfall 2 hooked people.
I mean, Titanfall 2 was a phenomenal game. Well, because, again, remember, for those of you that don't remember, Titanfall 2 was a phenomenal game and still is a phenomenal game. It has some of
Yep.
the best PvP movement ever created, it has some of the best gameplay ever created, and it has a 6-hour campaign that a team that had never made a campaign before were like, fuck it, players want a campaign, let us give them a campaign, and the players were like, we want more.
And
And then
on
they
top of that,
go on.
like no kidding, like on top of that, uh almost like a year or two after the game came out, they released for free to everyone a brand new mode that was a PvE wave defense mode.
Which is also a banger.
Yeah, the Titanfall 2 is just a great game.
Yeah, and then it was in the very much the same position where it got released right after a Black Ops game or right after a Call of Duty game and right before one of the new Battlefield games.
Oh, even worse. It came out between those and released on the same day as Doom 2016.
Yeah. So like it had and despite the fact that it had such a shit release, it was still a phenomenal game, and players, and there is still a dedicated community to Titanfall 2,
Yep.
and hopes of a fucking Titanfall 3. God damn it, Respawn!
It's like they're literally every Titanfall fan is basically praying for the downfall of Apex. That's basically what it is.
Yeah,
They are
I'm
just
sorry,
hoping
Apex
that
is boring as
Apex
shit.
stops making money.
Apex is boring as shit. I'm sorry. It's boring. It's so fucking boring. It's
They
like
like
any other fucking battle royale now.
they dumb down the controls of Titanfall. That's basically what Apex is. It has the core of Titanfall, but it does not have that fluidity. It doesn't have that feel.
Where's my fuck off giant mech, Respawn? Motherfucker, I swear to God. Like, but again, like, going back to the whole Concord thing, it was a shit release time for them to do it. And upper management, again, didn't even let the game have a chance to, like, live and work.
They,
Because from what
they
I've
didn't
seen,
even advertise it.
yeah, they didn't advertise it. There was really nothing about it, right? The only advertisement that I saw was a handful of content creators that they went to and were like, "Hey, you want to do a sponsorship for this game?" And I know this because BoxBox, one of the TFT streamers, did a sponsored stream for them of Concord. And that was basically all I heard about Concord. If I hadn't
Oh,
seen BoxBox's little thing about, like, hey, I have a Concord sponsorship, I literally would have never known when the fucking game released.
I got a better one for you.
Okay, hit me with it.
I hadn't seen anything on the game until I watched Dato's video. Dato's video was sponsored and it came out 2 days before they announced that the game was shutting down.
Yeah, like
It's like,
they gave they and here's the fucked up part. They didn't give the game any chance to live. Like 2 weeks is not a good sample size. Like
I will say though, like it peaked, and this is dead serious. It peaked on Steam at 700 players.
that's insane. I mean, also there's a lot of fucking good games right now.
Yeah,
Like
like the problem with it is that it's a hero shooter that has a price tag.
yeah, and that's a big issue because why would you play a hero shooter with a price tag when you can literally just go play Overwatch, which, by the way, still kind of ass, and the Marvel one, which I've heard is actually fucking phenomenal.
If like I don't think the Marvel one's going to cost anything either. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be free to play as well.
Yeah, and it's gonna be on like I guarantee you it's gonna be set up a lot like Overwatch is, where it's gonna have like a battle pass that you can buy for like $10 or whatever. You can spend some money to get cosmetics and skins, and honestly, I'm fine with that. Like again, if you have a free game, you have to monetize somehow. So
Yep.
I understand that, and it completely makes sense. I just hate Blizzard's monetization as a whole because it's so fucking scummy.
Oh,
It's so fucking scummy.
Blizzard's is still probably the worst. Like,
Blizzard has a lot of problems after the fail of Diablo 4, Overwatch 2 slowly but surely bleeding out, and World of Warcraft Classic slowly but surely like having that low, slow burn of it dying out, and either people going to retail or just quitting the game altogether. Like Blizzard's not doing hot right now.
yeah, like there's a few that really aren't. Although I do have to say the award for most fuck ups this year definitely goes to Sony right now.
Oh, 1,000%. Oh. Speaking of companies, uh, the lawsuit against fucking Pocket Pairs for Pal
Yep,
World, it's the
they
funniest shit on planet Earth. Oh my god.
they literally waited all this time to finally drop that fucking lawsuit on Pocket Pair.
And here's the fucked up part. Nobody fucking cares about it because number one, it's fucking Nintendo. Number two, Pokemon's just a ripoff of fucking Dragon Quest characters.
Yeah, which like
Like, brother, come on, man.
I want to see how it's going. Like, I want to know how that progresses, but I'm just like, at this point, it's been so long.
It's been what, almost a year and a half, 2 years since Pow. Fuck, when did Pow World release? Hold on, I have to look this shit up now. I'm Pow World
It's almost been a year.
January 2024.
Yeah.
Fucking 9 months ago. 9 fucking months ago it released. And they waited now to fucking drop the lawsuit. Like, holy shit.
Like, the only thing I can think of is they just waited for them to make money so they could get more out of it if they win. Like, this is just basically all it looks like.
And I'm like, and the fucked up part is, like, Nintendo, you haven't really released shit at all recently. Like, you released the new Zelda game and then another bullshit Mario game.
It's just.
Like, Nintendo still can't give us what we want, which is a modern day Smash Brothers Melee, because let's be real, every other Smash Brothers since Melee has been absolute fucking dog shit, doo doo trash. And they still haven't given me a Mario Kart Double Dash remix.
I'm
Like,
still shocked they haven't done another Double Dash.
like, bro, they released one Double Dash for the fucking GameCube, and it was a fucking banger. Hold on. I want to look up. I'm gonna look up how many copies of that game did they sell. Double Dash did Nintendo sell? 6.88 million units!
Yep.
Almost 7 million copies of fucking Mario Kart Double Dash for the fucking GameCube. And not once has Nintendo thought, you know, this sold really well. Why don't we make another one? Like, brother! Huh? By 2006, and I'm reading this now, by July 2006, the game had sold 2.2 million copies and earned $105 million in the United States. In the United States itself! Are you
Yep.
fucking kidding me, man? And you have heard me bitch about this, Danny. Why the fuck have they not made another fucking Mario Kart Double Dash? That shit was a banger. Certified banger. I don't know if they could just stop remaking fucking Star Fox 64. I'd be a fucking happy man. God damn it. They just keep remaking 64. Give me another Star Fox Assault game. Adventures, dog shit. We don't talk about adventures. Assault, Star Fox Assault, banger. Certified banger. Still won't make another one. Come on, man. Come on. Like,
Well.
Nintendo has so many IPs that here's my issue with Nintendo. Is Nintendo has the same problem that Sony has, where they go, we don't have enough IPs, so we're just gonna, do the same shit over and over again, which is Mario, Pokemon, Zelda. That's it. That's literally it. That's the holy trinity. Is Mario, Pokemon, Zelda. And they just refuse to make another game for literally anything else. And I'm like,
I will say, at least Nintendo didn't sell off two of their largest mascots.
yeah, that's also true. Sony, and speaking, I'm also, I apologize to anyone watching this. We are just rapid firing tonight. Speaking of Sony, Arrowhead has finally decided to basically fix their game. At least from what I've been reading, they have been doing a lot of updates, and I mean a fuck ton of updates.
This most recent, well, not the most recent patch, but the patch right before this, the Great Buffeting.
It really was, though. It really was. And honestly,
They,
thank God. Like, the
yeah,
Helldivers was dying. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? Fucking Warhammer came out. Warhammer 40k Space Marines came out and stole whatever fucking population was still playing Helldivers.
it's like that came out, and then also like everyone, being alerted that the actual Starship Troopers game will have up to 16 player co-op and is crossplay.
Well, and also the fact that, Earth Defense Force is getting another fucking game, which
Yep.
we haven't seen one of those in a while. And low key, Danny, I want to play it, but I know, if I try to play it on my laptop, I may fry my GPU. Like, I saw Russian Badger's video. A game that was 10 years old almost fried his graphics card. Like, holy shit. And then Battlefield actually fried his fucking computer.
I remember the video on Battlefield where it literally fried his computer, and some amazing people at a custom shop basically rushed him a PC.
Oh, not just that. No, 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 no. It wasn't just that. World of Tanks, in return
Yeah.
for doing World of Tanks PC, in return for doing another sponsorship video for him, gave him a PC to his specs, at least from what I remember. Like,
They paid for it.
they literally paid for it, yes. And then got another, and then they were like, all we ask is that you do another sponsored YouTube video for World of Tanks console PC. And Badger was like, sold.
Yeah, no, that's the easiest agreement ever right there.
Absolutely, hands down, bar none. That's an easy take. If World of Tanks
Free
PC offered,
PC?
yeah, if World of Tanks PC offered to build me a PC, pay for it, and we're like, hey, you just have to stream tanks for a year, sold, done.
That's easy.
That's easy,
That's
easy
an
money.
easy free PC right there.
Facts, facts, and just oh my god. But yeah, no, it's Sony. So you mentioned Sony earlier. Is there another fuck up they decided to do again?
So, you know how people have been complaining that they only like remaster the same like 3 games?
Oh, and the fact that they bitch that they don't have enough IPs, and then people literally pointed out lists of hundreds of games that they just refuse to acknowledge anymore.
So, they're remastering Horizon Zero Dawn
Again.
again. I believe they're also, let's see, what else are they doing?
Swear to God, if I
God of
see
War,
another fucking Skyrim game, I'm actually gonna break my PS4.
God of War Ragnarok is finally coming to PC.
Okay, that's that. You know what? Honestly, okay, I'm fine with that. To be honest, I'm surprised that it didn't get the PC any sooner.
Yeah, it's although after like all of they did kind of like massively hamper the sales of Ghost of Tsushima on
Ghost is,
PC.
yeah, and they also fucked up Helldivers.
You know, so it's like it's been a little on the rocks. I think they're also remastering. Was it Days Gone? Yeah,
Which, okay, that's from I haven't had the chance to play Days Gone. I've heard that it's a very good game though. But
I've I've heard that the game is good, but the head of the studio was not great, which is why it never got a sequel because the entire team refused to work with him again.
I mean, here's the fucked up part. Days Gone released a little over 5 years ago.
Yep,
5 years is not long enough to get it remastered. Like,
and that's
I'm
they've been
sorry.
doing that with like the same 3 or 4 series.
Yeah.
Like
And I'm like, bro, there are so many fucking. When was the last time we got a Crash Bandicoot game?
it's Activision now.
Fuck!
And Crash 4 was, let's see, when was the last Crash game?
Yeah, because Days Gone was released in April of 2019. I'm like,
Uh, Crash 4 was 2020.
okay, so that wasn't actually too long ago. So, alright, that's not too bad. But
Yeah.
also, like, here's my thing. In order for a remaster to take place, I think two criteria has to be met. Okay? And I think that these are pretty loose criteria. Number one, the game
Yeah.
at bare minimum has to be 10 years old. There is no reason to remaster a game before 10 years old. And here's why. Because with the release of new consoles every roughly about three, because I'm only going to count not like the mini console updates, so like there's the PS4, then there's the PS4 Pro, and the whatever PS4s after that, right? Because there's one of those every like 2 to 3 years. Roughly about every 5 to 6 years now, we're getting a new console. So it makes sense that a remaster comes out, it skips a generation and then comes to the new console, whatever the new console is that's coming out. That to me makes the most sense. That way it incentivizes people, oh, they're remastering an old game that I used to play as a kid. I would love to get that. I think that would be dope. So, criteria number one, has the game has to be at bare minimum 10 years old. Number two, enough people on forums, on polls, just contacting the fucking developers saying, we want a remastered of this game. Enough people have to state specifically that they want a remaster of the game, right? And this will knock out things that will happen, such as Skyrim getting remastered 4 goddamn times! There was no reason for Skyrim to have fucking 4 goddamn remasters. Because it came out on 360, got remastered for 360, then it came out on the Xbox One, and then it got remastered on the Xbox One. What the fuck? No
It,
reason.
there were
Absolutely
way
no
too
reason for
many.
that.
Just way too many.
Way
Like,
too
I think
goddamn many.
the only like exceptions I think I would ever have is if the game has been locked to a specific console or a region. Like in those instances, I would like to see one that's more accessible.
Okay, I mean, I can kind of understand that. Because, I mean, a great example is the Dead or Alive games. The Dead or Alive games, a lot of them stayed in Japan.
Yep.
I'm trying to think what I can't think of any off the top of my head that were
Like
like region exclusive.
until recently, and I say recently loosely because it's been out for a while. Near Replicant,
Ooh, yeah, okay.
because there was a separate version that released in the West.
Yeah. No, no, that makes sense. Completely makes sense. And I think I kind of agree with you. I think that might be one of the few exceptions is if a game is, as you said, region locked, to where, let's say for example, a game is made here in the U.S. and it's only able to be played here in the U.S. Now that's not really a thing. If a game gets developed in the U.S., normally like 99% of the time, the rest of the world can play it.
Yeah, the only like fringe instances of it not being available elsewhere is usually Australia
Yeah,
because
Australia.
their game board is very strict.
Yeah, which is so fucking weird to me when their country consists of two people: Aborigines and descendants of convicts.
They have one of the most like strict entertainment boards probably in the world.
They also have one of the strictest gun laws in the world. Like, holy shit. Like, their
Yeah,
fucking laws on guns are insane. Like, they are used for hunting and hunting only. Like, you do not carry a gun unless you are either A, like law enforcement, which I don't really know how their shit works out there, or like you have a major license to like hunt, because Australia is literally it's literally just the Wild West.
Yeah, like once you leave the cities, basically, yeah.
Because I go to a quote that habitual line crosser on YouTube once said when he was, because he plays different countries, and he looked at Russia and he went, "Hi mate, have you ever fought an emu?" And that absolutely fucking explains all of fucking Australia. Just, have you ever fought an emu? Because for those of you that don't know, yes, Australia had an official war against emus. And guess what? They fucking lost.
Because who would have known that emus were resistant to machine gun fire
Who
at
knew
the
that emus
time?
had fucking hands, dog? Like, brother, emus were fucking people up. And there were so fucking many of them. Oh my god.
Yup. And there's still a lot of them.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You name one animal in Australia, and there's roughly about 1 million of them. Like kangaroos, like koalas, like rabbits, but not just
Just
any rabbits. Rabbits that dig holes 20 to 30 feet deep and large enough that it looks like an ant colony, and that is known to collapse underneath and cause massive property damage to buildings. That is, have you not heard that, Danny?
that checks out.
Yes, they had a problem where rabbits were like a version of, I think, rabbits or prairie dogs or whatever the fuck, were building such like convoluted tunnels, and then after like enough pressure was applied, entire buildings would collapse on top of these colonies and would knock out like half a street because they were so wide. Like, that's insane to me. Like, this
Yeah.
is literally the definition of literally everything can kill you in Australia.
Yeah.
Literally everything.
It's like just for perspective, kangaroos in Australia are the equivalent to rats in New York. That's that's basically what the equivalency is.
Yeah, except kangaroos, unlike Master Splinter and fucking NYC, actually have hands. And
They
they are not
will
willing,
they
and
will
they are, yeah, and they are absolutely willing to throw them.
they will in fact do that.
Bro, they will absolutely. Have you seen the video of the dude that's parachuting down and a kangaroo just rolls up on him and starts throwing hands? Have you seen that
Yeah,
video? It's so fucking good because that is literally just fucking Australia being Australia, dude. Like,
yeah.
bro, dude's just coming down on a parachute. Was like, "Oh, hey, bud," and the fucking kangaroo comes up and just beats the shit out of it.
Uh
Oh, I'm sorry.
God.
I'm sorry to everyone watching this on YouTube. Like, this is well, welcome to the Trials of Casuals podcast, where we stay on topic for roughly about 34.5 seconds, and then we immediately deviate.
It always gives us something to talk about.
Yeah, but yeah, no. Oh, reset time. Going back to the conversation beforehand.
Yeah.
Also, I just, side note before we get back into that, I cannot wait for Cryptic to watch this video and then make the thumbnail. Because I just want to see just a picture of just a kangaroo with a fucking LMG just in its hands. Cryptic, you know what to do. You're watching the video, making the thumbnail. Have fun, bud. But no. So again, I agree with you with the. I would accept a remastered if it's specifically only available in like China or Japan, because most of the time, if there is a game that is region locked, it is absolutely the East that does that.
Yep.
Like, we didn't get, you know, I mean, for fuck's sakes, how long did it take us to get fucking Pokemon?
It took a little while.
Yeah, it took a minute. It took a hot sec.
Uh,
I mean, again, also the GameCube. Like, the GameCube came out, and people were like, "Where the fuck are all the games?" They were still fucking getting them cleared.
like it took a while. Like honestly, it took a while for Monster Hunter. to pop up over here.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Monster. Well, yeah, because we didn't really see Monster Hunter until we didn't really see a big resurgence in Monster Hunter until Monster Hunter World.
Yeah,
Cause,
which like,
cause
because
all the
like,
previous games
mo-
were on like the DS and shit.
yeah, like that. Some of there was a couple I think on the PS2. Like it
Mon-
just it took so long for them to come over here, and they weren't really like mainly advertised.
yeah. Well, it was also very much unlike. Well, and Monster Hunter was very much unlike a lot of other video games that were out here on the West, right? Because the West has a certain game, a certain game style, and it
Yep,
normally involves a lot of guns.
and like it
So there's
took.
that.
I think honestly, the big explosion of more import games actually caused by FromSoft.
Oh, with the Soulsborne games?
I think like starting out with like Kingsfield, they had a small group of people that were like, "Oh, this game's different." And Demon Souls, I think, helped them a little bit, but Dark Souls is the one where it was like, "Oh, we need to start selling these like right away in the West."
Yeah, because people in the West were bored of the same shit over and over and over again.
And then they got a game that the whole premise of it was to make you suffer until you learned how to beat a boss.
Yeah, and again, the Soulsborne's games, right? The Dark Souls series, all those games are classics, right? Like they are classics. I don't personally play them, because I already suffer enough having to log into tanks. So but it's a challenge. But yeah, no. So yeah, I would agree with that. But I think overall, I think the criteria to remaster a game, again, with the exceptions of like region lock games, I think at bare minimum the game has to be 10 years old and has to have enough of a cult following that people have been asking for a remake. And then, okay, well, it's really not that hard. If a company, right, let's say for example, Nintendo was like, hey, why don't we just post on Twitter, hey, who would like to see a remake of Pokemon Emerald? And then you have until this date to go vote. Do you want to see a remake? Yes or no? And then based on how many people say yes, there you go. It's it's so much easier to collect data because of the new age of social media, right? We
Yeah,
have this is literally the definition of we have the technology. We have it. You fucking use it. Like it is really not that hard. If Nintendo put out a post that said, "Hey, should we remake Pokemon Emerald like we did Oros?" Several hundred thousand, maybe a million people even vote and say yes. Because Pokemon Emerald, in my opinion, is still the best Pokemon, the best mainline Pokemon game to date. Hands down, bar none.
it's like with all of the really well done remasters of classic games lately, it would be a good move.
Yeah, and it's not like they don't have games stored in the vault. Another great example is give us a third game to Colosseum and Gale of Darkness.
I wish they would. I really wish they would.
Hell, I would take a fucking remastered version with brand new graphics. Like
Yeah,
you can literally reuse the exact same voice lines. Just reuse the same voice lines, the same sound effects, just give us updated graphics on the newest console. I would be totally fucking fine with a remastered Coliseum and Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness
yeah.
because I think That's fucking dope. And also the
It's
fact of it
like,
makes transferring Pokemon so much easier than having to slip in the fucking ports between um your Game Boy Color or your Game Boy or the Game Boy SP and the GameCube in order to transfer the Pokemon over.
yeah, like it, it's something that I'm kind of surprised they haven't done.
Because Nintendo wants their lives to be easy, so they choose not to do it. That is
Although,
literally, I guarantee you, that is literally the only reason why. Is
yeah,
because they don't want to do it because it would require overhauling the game and bringing it up to date. Which, again, really not that difficult. I mean, literally just take a look at Modern Warfare 2. They remastered the whole campaign just with slightly updated graphics, and it looks phenomenal. And again, it's the same fucking campaign from 2009. And people still played the shit out of it.
yep.
Because it was good. And people had been asking for it. Now, did we get the multiplayer? No. But, at least we got the campaign. And the campaign, I mean, when you talk about campaigns, Danny, Modern Warfare 2's was iconic.
It's like it's one of those things that's like you don't mess with it.
Like, and it's so iconic. The voice lines, the fucking missions, like, holy fuck. No Russian! The mission, no Russian! Iconic! It's iconic! Is it a controversy? Kind of, but it's iconic. Right? Shepard's voice line when he turns on Task Force 141. History is written by the victors. Bro, that's a fucking iconic voice line. Like, that is a voice line that is remembered for history in gaming. Like,
And it's like that's why people wanted it remastered. They didn't want a remake.
yeah, they wanted it remastered. And honestly, Call of Duty did it. They remastered the campaign. They literally just slightly upped the graphics to like semi-modern day, and we're like, good enough. Like, here, have fun.
Yeah,
Here's the campaign for the newer consoles. Like, we're not doing anything else for it, but here, have the campaign. And the campaign's good. It's still a fucking good campaign. I don't know how many times I have to say that. Like,
it's like I think that's kind of like a problem that a lot of things run into is that they try a little too hard. It's like they try to recreate these campaigns that people really enjoy instead of just, you know, follow the formula, but don't like just like try to copy paste it, but change a little bit.
yeah, because the newest Modern Warfares, their campaigns, number one, are completely different despite the names. And number two, I've heard that they're not that great.
Just
So
like,
it's like meh,
yeah,
because they're
it's why I
precursors
kind of
to
have,
Modern Warfare, the OG Call of Duty 4.
yeah, it's like it's kind of one of the things that pops up is why I have a little bit more of an issue whenever they remake a game, unless it like desperately needed it.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of games that I would love to see remakes of. I mean, another great example that I'd love to see a game for with a remake. Hold on, I have to double check to make sure that I have the release date. Yes. Okay. I would love to see a remastered version of Gears of War 1.
Didn't they do that?
No, they didn't.
Isn't that what the enhanced edition is?
Is it? I don't remember what the enhanced edition does. Is it
Let
does
me
it give
see.
you all does it give you all 6 games? Technically I should say 5 because we don't talk about Judgment Day.
I don't think it's all of them. I think it's just the first game.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah,
what?
they do have a remaster.
Okay, so,
Gears of
um,
War Ultimate.
okay. Let me. I mean, I can also just start going through. Oh, oh. Well, actually, technically, I think aren't we getting a new one? Jet Set
Yep,
Radio Future.
yep. They are giving us a new Jet Set Radio soon. So
That one's gonna be hype. Let's see.
they learned. They're ready.
Yeah,
Sega's ready.
yeah. Let's see what other games, could be remade. Oh, a lot of these are Xbox games. Um, oh, oh fuck. I have Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dawn of Destiny on the Xbox original. Remember when they used to make Yu-Gi-Oh! Games for consoles?
I I know that there's been a few not too long ago, but not for consoles.
This is God, I forgot. Also, back when they gave actual fucking manuals for games,
That's what a time.
like it literally tells you everything that happens on screen and how to play the game. It literally gives you every single fucking little like piece of information that you need in the game. Also, the game's not in here. So, I'm kind of sad. Um I mean, but like there are plenty of games that could easily be remastered. Or honestly, I would a game that I would actually like a remake of would be Star Fox Adventures because this game was fucking doo doo trash, and it Star Fox did not deserve the hands that it got thrown on that. They made up for it. They made up for it in Assault, but Adventures was doo doo trash. I mean, you know what? Here's a great example. Here's a great example of a game that got remastered. Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door.
Yep, and that was done basically as close to perfect as you could ask for.
And funnily enough, I still have the fucking game in here. Like, bro, like that. You want to talk about a successful remastered? Look at Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. People were fucking ecstatic because that's a good fucking game. That's another
Yep,
good fucking game with a banger campaign.
and
Banger.
the only other things that they did aside from just giving it better graphics and putting it on a more robust engine, they added some. I think they added a couple new bosses
Oh, see, I didn't even see
as
that.
as well as back sprites for all of the characters.
Which again, it doesn't change the story a whole lot, but it's a little bit of extra content, but it's still the same great story
Yeah,
that you played when it first came out.
essentially just some quality of life stuff.
Yeah, which I think when you do a remastered, absolutely, you should absolutely have some quality of life stuff improve like added in, right?
Yeah, like the number one complaint usually when there is a remaster is the controls.
Yes.
When you remaster a game, there's so many that forget to update the controls to make them a little more responsive because like we have much better technology. We can make the game play better.
We have the technology. Like, no,
It's just like
I agree.
as much as I love all of the games that are based on GoldenEye, those controls have not aged super well.
No. I mean, do you remember seeing the 64's controller?
Yep, I have a couple of them.
I love the and I do love to bring up this meme of the Xbox controllers versus PlayStation controllers versus anything Nintendo has ever produced. Because it's like Xbox is like, you know, same model, really just updated. Nothing crazy, nothing new. PlayStation's like, a couple changes here and there, but just quality of life stuff. And then Nintendo just being, we're on crack. And every console has a new fucking controller.
And the fun thing about Nintendo, though, is every single one of their extra peripherals that you can get since the GameCube has been a GameCube controller.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, they understand, like, oh, people really like the GameCube controller.
It
Let's just
really,
keep making GameCube
it
controllers.
it really was such a great controller. Like,
It's like, it's not too big, it's not too small. The buttons are in great places, so you're not like stretching your thumb halfway across the controller to hit
and the
something.
cords were long as shit. The cords for the GameCube controllers before you got, the wireless ones, the cords were long as fuck.
Yeah,
Like they would go across the entire living room. Like it was, oh my god. Jesus, too fucking tired. Waking up early is kicking my ass. Um but yeah, no, again, like it's just a matter of, like, don't fix what's not fucking broken.
yeah. Just if you're gonna do a remaster or a remake, just tighten up the controls. That's all people really want. They don't want you to change the experience. They just want to experience the game again.
No.
Especially like if you have something, for instance, this would be a great thing to have a remake of the original Drakengard.
Yeah, I remember us talking about that.
Because like it hasn't been done. It's still stuck on the PS2, and its controls outside of the dragon controls are literally unplayable.
Mhm.
It would be great, but I don't think that's something that would be in the cards for Square Enix. They're kind of like all over the place right now, too.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for Square Enix.
Their problem is, and I say this quite a bit, because like Square Enix is still one of the few developers that makes those year-long exclusivity deals with Sony. I think it hurts them a lot more than it helps. Cuz like specifically recently with Final Fantasy VII, it just came out on Steam, well the remake. And it did okay,
Mhm.
but I think most of the people that were interested in it just watched somebody play it,
Mhm.
and their interest for actually playing it just kind of went down.
Well, and in all fairness, though, I do think that there are certain games that I think there are a lot of games that I would rather watch than actually play the game, right? Like,
Yep.
and and that's why I don't really necessarily knock people that don't play specific games and they'd rather watch it. Like a great example is Rust. I am,
Yeah.
number one, ass at Rust. Number two, I don't have a PC that can really play it. And number three, there's some really phenomenal content creators for Rust. Like I enjoy watching the cinematics that people make. Like the two main ones that I watch are Wellen and Stevie. Like they are miniature movies. And the gameplay and the how they do it on YouTube is so unique and so much fun to watch. But I have no want or need to play Rust.
Yep.
right? Like, I will watch the newest Smash Bros. Games and watch, people playing those Smash Bros. Games because I enjoy watching the newest Smash Bros. But I don't enjoy playing the newer Smash Bros. I liked the simplicity of the older Smash Bros. Over that. I'll still watch, but it's not what I want, right? And I feel like there's a line where I totally think that it's fine to just watch a game. Like, you could just not
Yeah,
play the game at all. Like, again, the people there are content creators for a living. They they are there to make content. Do I play all of the games that Russian Badger plays? No. Do I enjoy watching his videos because they're dumb and they're fun? Absolutely. Like, it's one of those things that I think you kind of have to like remember is that there are just some people that just cannot play video games.
yeah. And like, I think like out of all of the games, I actually think a lot of Sony's mainline games are more interesting to watch than to play. But I think that's just mainly because like a lot of them are getting to the point where they're more like they're following kind of the formula that everyone picked on Telltale games for doing, where it's just like they're just playable cutscenes, basically.
Yeah,
It's
which in
like
all
a little
fairness,
bit of gameplay, but mostly just cutscene.
yeah. Now, in all fairness, I'm not really a big fan of the that game style, but I will tell you this: um, when Borderlands 3 came out, before it came out, I watched a 9-hour video of the entirety of the Borderlands Telltale game.
That game is good. The
Very
story
good.
in that game is good.
Yeah, very good. But I needed to watch the Telltale in order to understand who the fuck the characters were.
Yep. And I'm still mad that they recast VA for Reese. I'm still upset at that.
Mm-hmm. Like
But
it's ridiculous.
yeah, like that's kind of what's happened, and I believe that's a big part of what happened with Spider-Man 2 is because like if you didn't have a PS5, there's no way you were buying a PS5 just to play that game.
Yeah.
You just watch somebody play it. You're good.
Uh huh. Yeah. Also, you had to contend up against Baldur's Gate 3. Like, lol.
One of the most successful like technically indie games in a long time. Started another surge of indie games.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think the most important fact about Baldur's Gate 3 is the fact that Larian paid out of pocket for the license to make the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like they took a risk to make the game and it paid off.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And this goes back to several months ago, Danny, when we first talked about BG3 and we talked about Helldivers and we talked about Pal World. It is the time of indie games. Are there some indie games that are bad? Yeah, but there's always going to be indie games that are bad. There's just like there are AAA games that are fucking downright atrociously bad.
There's a lot. There's a lot, right? There's a lot right now, honestly.
Yeah, like now is the time for indie companies to just be shitting out games. Like if you're an indie company, like I understand you not wanting to probably watch this video, but if you're part of an indie company, make your game. Make your fucking game. Pay for whatever small advertisement. Find a couple small streamers to stream your game, sponsor them, throw them a couple cosmetics or some shit like that, and say, hey, come play this game. Like, this, people want good quality games right now. And
Yeah,
indie
like
companies are just, they're the ones delivering.
yeah, literally like right now more than any time, like people are we're back into the I just want a game that's fun. Not a
Yeah,
game that like takes itself too seriously or is like asking for all of my time. Just a game that's fun.
1,000%. 1,000%
And
agree.
the important thing, a game that does not feel like it's on the verge of falling apart every 2 minutes.
That too, yes.
Because a lot of the AAA games, which they've been doing this for years, they ship them in a very buggy, glitchy mess because they're not ready yet.
And the problem is that the fanboys will continue to buy it and they'll be like, "Oh, we did the right thing," and it will never change. I mean, fuck. Remember the times, Danny, when you bought a game and that was it?
Yeah,
Like there
it's just
was there
like
was no updates, there was nothing. Like I mean, a great example is Modern Warfare 2. There was very few updates. They did like two major hot fixes. They hot fixed the Akimbo 1800s, and then they hot fixed something else, and that was it. They didn't touch
yeah,
the game otherwise. So you had to deal with one man army noob tubes. Let me just put that in perspective again. One man army noob tubes. For those of you that don't know what one man army did, it was a perk. It's an old school perk, and I haven't really seen it since. But basically, what it did was it allowed you mid match, before you died, you could swap to another loadout, and it refreshed all of your ammo. So you could spam your noob tubes, one man army, to another class with one man army and noob tubes, and then swap back and forth. It was a little busted. But guess what? Infinity Ward said, fuck it. It's live. We're not doing anything. They fixed like the Akimbo 1800s and like something else. I don't even remember what it was. The only one that I remember was the Akimbo 1800s. But like
yeah,
the the problem is that we've allowed AAA companies and AAA developers to keep getting away with releasing suboptimal games,
yeah,
and
which
that's not okay.
it's bad for the players and it's even worse for the devs because it just gives the AAA publishers more incentive to try and rush them to get it out rather than making sure it's done.
Yeah. Now I will say that there are perks to the live action, or not live action, to the
Live service.
live service. Right. A great example is Baldur's Gate 3. Number one, Baldur's Gate 3 had a very long open beta. Like a very, very long open beta.
Yeah, they
And
had a lot of communication between players and the devs during that time, taking feedback, listing bugs, and then when it shipped, most of those were fixed.
yeah. Well, and here's the thing, right? When they found new bugs, they were immediately patched and they were immediately fixed. And that's what I will say about live service games is that that is the one good thing that is about live service games. And that's any live service game, right? You could take, well, in all fairness, most games are now live service games. If there's something that's a problem, normally they fix it, right? And they normally try to fix it immediately. At least for multiplayer and stuff like that, right? I mean, a great example is Dota 2, League of Legends, Call of Duty, Battlefield, stuff like that. If something's a little too busted, you can immediately nerf it. Some people take it a little too far. I'm looking at you, Arrowhead and Helldivers. Just let your players have fun in a PvE game mode, dude.
Yeah,
Let them
it's
blow
like
themselves up.
I think kind of what happened in a lot of situations like that is they got into that mentality of trying to balance it like a PvP game, which you pick one or the other.
Like, you allow the ridiculousness of PvE, or you go through the sweatiness of PvP. And you have already stated there will be no PvP in the game, so let the PvE be ridiculous. That's it's kind of the fucking point of the game. Like, come on, man. People want to shoot bugs and destroy robots. Let them fucking do it however the fuck they want it. It's really not that hard.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, I mean, again, now is the time of live service games, but also it's the time of indie developers. Like, we are getting some phenomenal games from indie developers. And again, if you want to go find an indie game, literally just go to Steam and search their like $10 to $15 price games. They're fucking good.
like Steam has a certain thing at least like once, maybe twice a year, where the front page is literally they promote indie games, or they have a game jam where there's like devs are given a certain amount of time to make a game, and they'll like put those on there.
Yeah, exactly. A great one is Pirate Software. Pirate
Yep.
Software literally holds a yearly game jam where people literally just submit their indie games, and he tells them like, hey, this is things that you can work on and improve on, like, or hey, this looked really good, or hey, this you could use a little bit more touch on this. Like, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. And I liked what Pirate Software said. Sell your game for $5 because no one's gonna want to refund it because it was $5.
Yep.
And if it does well, great. You can make another one or make a DLC. You don't have to, but you can. And that's one of the nice things about being an indie dev is you get to make your own rules. You don't have to follow some bullshit AAA company that clearly does not like you. Hashtag fuck Sony.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, like that's kind of one of the joys of being an indie dev right now is you get to just make whatever the fuck you want and just have. The big thing is have
exactly.
fun, and hope the people that play your game have fun.
Like when you're an indie dev, you get some of the most direct feedback you're ever gonna get.
Mm-hmm. Oh, all right. Do you have any other talking points to go over, Danny?
I think that was basically all of them.
Oh, all right. My back is hurting, and I have a driving class final exam tomorrow. So I think we should go ahead and get ready to wrap this up.
Sounds good.
So, with that being said, Danny, where can they find you?
You can find me on YouTube and Twitch at CatboxDanny.
You can also find me on Twitch and YouTube at Dominite Fox or on Twitter at Dominite Fox One. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. We both really appreciate it. We both hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, don't be a sweat lord. We'll see you guys next time.